The EU federalists' plan to create an EU empire continues as usual. The mainstream media remains pretty silent on the issue, and we on this channel are here to expose them. Alright, it's been a while since we've talked about the European Union, the EU project, as they are planning to accelerate their plans to create the expansion and, of course, the EU army and everything else. But apparently, when you talk about this in the mainstream media, you get called a tinfoil hat nutter. Even though we've already been proven right about the EU Defence Union, the international treaties and everything else, and we now have, obviously, the World Health Organization with their treaty that are using Brussels as the back door, as a buffer, to get all the EU member states and Britain and America and everywhere else to sign their treaty, because the EU as an entity is a good backdoor to actually use to do their globalist agenda. This is actually about the EU empire. They are quite open about their plans. They keep posting about these sort of things. So they made this like map and the details of it. It's not really fully confirmed, but there are suggestions. So this is the map of Europe, including the United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, Denmark, Iceland, Finland, all of them. This is European Federation. Funnily enough, they've actually put the capital as Vienna. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Vienna, capital? Okay. Population, 597 million people. And the currency will be euro. And GDP will be 22... Well, Jesus Christ. Okay, so anyway, the idea is they actually have the common language as the central language will be English. So, yay, we are winning. They will have to speak English regardless of what they want or what the French are moaning about. But one issue is Vienna. Really? I think that's been tried before. Didn't really go well in the 20th century, did it? But this is not really the first time that we have evidence of them accelerating the plans. Over the last couple of years, we've been talking about all the mergers that's been happening with the banking system in Europe, with the EU army, even pre-EU army, they've been doing these sort of things. We've seen, obviously, we got the plan, we got the details, and we had evidence of integration. They had an integration ceremony a while ago of the Dutch and German army basically merging together. Because there's, again, we haven't seen that before in history, have we? Let's get to that video as a reminder.
Today, the 13th Dutch Brigade is placed under the command of the 10th German Armored Division. Thereby, we have reached a level of integration of the Dutch Landmacht into the German army that is unmatched in Europe and NATO.
999. Why are you guys so obsessed with integration? So, the expansion plans, as it goes, they are now making certain people very happy, including Guy Verhofstadt. You remember Guy Verhofstadt? Yeah. He's been calling for EU federalism and the EU army for such a long time, and it's now happening. He's, again, more recently, been making all these crazy and very, very angry European speeches. Kind of, again, reminds us of the 1930s rhetoric, as Gary Lineker would say. But he says basically the EU army and the integration is basically not just inevitable, it's a necessity, and it has to happen, and it will happen.
It will be a world dominated by empires. China, Russia, India, the United States, of course. Well, in such a world order...
Here we go. So, they are obsessed with... when they're talking about the new world order, it's basically like it's bringing back the old world order when we actually had empires. These idiots genuinely believe that we are going back to individual empires. So they say that not just in order to oppose China, but also America, we have to have our own empire. And I'm not even a fan of the Americanization of the world, but I don't think the solution is to have a European empire. All right, anyway.
Dear friends, only Europe as a bloc can survive. Only united we can defend our values, we can protect the interest of our citizens.
Oh, God.
Because the European Union, that acts too little too late, as we have seen so many times, will not survive.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I have to tell you, that is my firm conviction, European integration is no longer a question of choice. It has become a question of necessity.
Necessity is no longer a choice. You had Ursula von der Leyen sitting there, you had Emmanuel Macron, who's obsessed with his new European project, the European Political Community, which is the EU 2.0, and they got the UK to join as well. It's not completely finalized, but they had their first summit a while ago, and they're talking about more treaties when it comes to the British Army signing up to more treaties with the EU Defence Union. As I said, we have the World Health Organization going through the back door through Brussels to get all the other countries to join. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, which makes you think, what was the point of voting to leave the European Union if they are still going to do more expansion and integration? This is probably why they didn't really panic. This is probably why, despite what George Osborne or David Cameron told us in 2016 during the referendum, that we are going to be completely isolated, the European Union will punish us, they don't want to deal with us, but the exact opposite happened. They came and gave us a trade deal. They said we're still going to cooperate. It's because they know that the vote is meaningless. Obviously, Brexit as a concept will still have technicalities when it comes to small impacts on everyday life here, in a good way, basic freedoms, even though we actually haven't done that, apart from the trade agreements we've done around the world. But the overall, the bigger picture doesn't really matter if we're inside or outside the European Union, because they still got our establishment to be involved with all these integrations and all these programs. So, not to be too doom and gloomy, but there's absolutely no point right now in fighting for proper Brexit, because it doesn't happen. Anyway, don't forget, later tonight we're going to have a live coverage of the local elections results, quite soon actually, after the 10 p.m. When the polls close. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.